I must rise above the flames.
Welcome back, Flick Knaves. I'm Lupinefiasco, this is Daily FaB Gameplay, and today we are playing Cindra, Dracai of Retribution. For anyone who is new to the channel, welcome to the Empire. What we do here is review replays of games I played on the Talishar.net client days or weeks ago, after enough time has passed that I lose my bias and can more objectively judge the quality of my games. I will talk through turn cycles as if I were taking them now, giving my thought process for the lines I would take, and comparing those to the lines I did take at the time of recording. We either learn from my mistakes or reinforce good play patterns with the overall goal of tightening and optimizing our gameplay in the future to take down paper events and walk away with that shiny, shiny cardboard. If you like what you see and would like to try this deck for yourself on Talishar, there is a FaB deck link in the video description below. While you're down there, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It is the best free way to support me and to make sure that you see every new episode of Daily FaB Gameplay in your YouTube feed. I also have a Blue Sky, a Discord, and a Patreon, links to which are in the video description. Patrons at the Arc Lightning tier or higher will get access to all of my matchup guides for all of my deck lists forever, including this one. Now, without further ado, let's jump right into the gameplay. This game went up on Yudo's channel 2 days ago, and I got some requests from viewers who wanted to see my side of it, so I'm going to show this game, I'm going to commentate it. There are a few learning moments in here, but there's one very specific reason that I lost, and we're going to talk about that once we get to it. For now, I lost the die roll, and Yudo put me going second. Here is one of the strengths of playing a Dark Horse deck like Acilio. So I'm using Yuki Lee Bender's Cindra guide from Patreon. This has all of her matchup guides in it. Notably, there is not one for Acilio. The great advantage of Dark Horse Heroes is that when pros are preparing for these big events, they aren't testing against every hero. There are over 30 heroes in the game currently. They cannot find the time to test against everything, so they're going to test against the real meta contenders. And if you are playing a hero like Acilio, it's very possible that people like me who are just net decking don't know how to board against you correctly. So I am using Yuki's Aurora sideboard guide for this matchup, because Acilio is a lot closer to Aurora than she is to Kano, but I have no idea if that's right or how many D-reacts I should bring in or anything about this matchup, so I am already starting at a disadvantage. But the good news about going second is if I don't get just blown up by arcane damage that I can't prevent, then I am ahead in the aggro race. So we've got a Flittering Charge coming down for 4. There are a few lines here where I could consider blocking this. I do think that we should be blocking with Art of the Dragon Blood before anything else. Great card, except when we don't have a fealty or a brand with Thunderclaw, and then the card is just terrible. So as far as ranking these cards in my hand by priority, I would like to keep Ancestral Empowerment, then Ignite, then Lava Vein Loyalty, then Art of the Dragon Blood. But we could also just cover the Flittering Charge with Ignite and Dragon Blood. I think that's what we should do, because that prevents an easy Channel Lightning Valley draw. Blocking with the Lava Vein Loyalty instead really shows that I am overemphasizing Art of the Dragon Blood, and you really cannot do that. This is a very strong card, but only when we are properly set up for it, and that means at least one fealty, if not more, and probably a 5-card hand. So thankfully we do block 5 on that Flittering Charge, because then follow-up is arcane damage that we can't block. So we do at least prevent leaking some damage from the Flittering Charge, so we're not as low as we could be. And here you can see just how we get punished for not having that Lava Vein Loyalty. If we have that Lava Vein Loyalty, then we get to do a line like pitch Ancestral Empowerment to attack with Kunai, attack with First Strike, or Fire Tenant First Strike, then attack with Lava Vein Loyalty, which comes in for 4, threatens a Mask Momentum trigger, and we can flick knives to keep the Mask chain alive, and then we Lava Burst, which is 5, potentially a mask trigger, gives us our 3 Draconic Links to buy back the kunai that we flicked. Instead, we are in this awkward turn where we're probably looking to do something like Fire Tenant, then kunai pitching Lava Burst, then play Art of the Dragon Blood and hold the Ancestral Empowerment. But all of that is just so much easier for Yudo to block. So we already screwed up by blocking with that Lava Vein Loyalty and not the Art of the Dragon Blood, and this was a really good game for showing me just how bad Dragon Blood is when you aren't set up. I think this is the first time I really stopped and considered, like, this deck doesn't want more finishers. Art of Dragon Blood as a finisher kind of sucks compared to Lava Burst or Art of the Dragon Fire. So really nice to have seen that and realize, okay, you know what, I did this wrong. The other bad thing about this line we're gonna kunai here is we can't flick knives because we only have 1 Draconic Link on the chain, so we can't even cheat it with Blood Splattered Vest. Yudo gives us 2 armor here, which I really wasn't expecting. I think now the line is just Dragon Blood and Arsenal Ancestral Empowerment. I want to sit on this card for as long as I can to get a momentum trigger out of it, but just a very scuffed turn. This turn could have been a lot better if we just made one simple, different blocking decision, and so I'm going to stop harping on it, but I hope that I have adequately communicated the point to all of you that Dragon Blood without fealty is probably better as a 3-block. We've got a Fry coming in for 6. Let's look at the texture of our hand. We have this Ancestral Empowerment in Arsenal, so I'm really interested in keeping as many of these cards as I can. The Rising Resentment is priority 1 because it is a Draconic starter, and if I can avoid having to pitch a red to attack with a kunai, I'm already ahead in the turn cycle. But the 2 Burning Blade Dances are nice because with a kunai, they are kind of just 4 power, assuming they hit. So if I can sequence this turn like Rising Resentment, Burning Blade Dance, let's say that Yudo takes 3 from the Resentment, blocks the Burning Blade Dance on Chainlink 2, I flick knives to keep my Mask Chain alive, and then play Burning Blade Dance number 3. If that gets blocked with a 3-block, I Ancestral Empowerment over the top, which is going to get me a card draw from the Empowerment, a card draw from Mask of Momentum, and I have 3 Draconic Links on the chain, so I can activate Cindra, get both of my daggers back, and then immediately throw one. So I really want these 3 cards. It's especially important that I have a Burning Blade Dance for Chainlink 3, which I am expecting to be the Momentum chain, because Ancestral Empowerment only targets ninja cards. The Ravenous Rabble could be good, but if Yudo has gives me a 3-block and the Lightning Headpiece, I can't do anything about that. The benefit of the Burning Blade Dance is it doesn't prompt Yudo to block for 4, it prompts a 3-block. So all of this is to say that I don't want to block with any of these cards, because the 2 3-blocks I have are serving better on offense than they are on defense, and my 2 2-blocks, Rising Resentment and Ravenous Rabble, are just strictly better on offense, because the number in the bottom left is higher than the number in the bottom right. So we're going to see just how much damage we're taking to pull this turn off. We are kind of looking at 3, 6, 9, 13, 14, potentially a 5-card 17, 18 if we look at Flick Knives, and depending on what we draw from the from the Ancestral Empowerment, we might be looking at even more damage if it's something like Breaking Point. And we activate our Vest and we get to dagger this turn as well. Blast to Oblivion coming in, this is just 4 damage. I'm expecting some kind of instant that is going to let Yudo return the Channel Lightning Valley to their hand. We do have Somersault, so Somersault returning the Channel Lightning and also the Blast to Oblivion, which, okay. Without an action point, there really isn't anything to do with that besides pitch it to Volzar. So Yudo does avoid taking the intellect penalty and is able to reset the Channel Lightning Valley trigger. It was a good turn, but we do get rewarded from that Blast to Oblivion just not having an action point to follow it up. We got Yudo triggering Acilio again, fishing for something better than Comet Storm. It's fine with me. Comet Storm blocks 3, so if Yudo turns a 3 block into a non-block, that is just to my advantage. Following up with the Burning Blade Dance, see if Yudo is going to block this on Chainlink 2, which is what I am expecting him to do and what I would also like him to do. So no block, but we are still going to use the Burning Blade Dance trigger. We are going to get our first point on Vest, which does a few things for us. One being that if we draw a 1-cost attack out of this Ancestral Empowerment or out of our Mask and Momentum trigger, then we are able to play it this turn without having to pitch a red. It also just means that future daggers don't have to hit if Yudo is sitting on something like a Calming Breeze. We are going to Ancestral Empowerment this Burning Blade Dance just to get our value. I'm expecting that I want to arsenal something, and I just want more opportunities to draw a 1-cost attack from my, to use my floating resource. Again, with the Burning Blade Dance, I am going to activate Cindra here, and here's where we have a difficult question to answer. Because we can flick a dagger with the Burning Blade Dance, deal a point of damage, we don't draw into a 1-cost, but we do now have a way that we could have potentially thrown a dagger, attacked with a dagger, attack with Rabble, Lava Burst, flick knives, use all of our resources, and push a little more damage, but then we go down on daggers, which is not something that I really want to do. Now, Yudo is committed to keeping this hand of cards, and Tunic is about to be at 3, has already attacked with Lightning Greaves, blocked with Lightning Greaves, so this tells me that we're probably out of time. Yudo is going to combo off in some way, but here's where I'm about to make a really big game-losing mistake. By taking another counter, thinking that because I'm out of time, I need to just push a bunch of damage, maybe scare Yudo into blocking. But here's why that's bad, is now I don't have daggers. And if Yudo just has a 30 damage turn, well, I'm probably dead. But if the combo doesn't quite get there, maybe they are fishing for a card, and they end up not finding it from the Channel Lightning Valley, it's possible that I'm just alive. But the way that I now lose this game is if I can't get my daggers back. Having a dagger with Cindra is critical, and look at this hand. This hand doesn't function. This hand's best line is a 2-card 5 with Hunt the Hunter, because I don't have a dagger, but if I had a dagger, well then I also have another counter on Vest. I only have 1 stain counter instead of 2. So now we're looking at something like Pitch Shelter, attack with dagger, dagger hits, make a resource, play hot on their heels, flick knives, make a resource, demonstrate devotion, Hunt the Hunter. And we're looking at what is potentially a 4-card 1, 4, 8, 13, 14, 15, compared to this, which just sucks. So now I'm blocking. The best thing I can do with this hand is just be defensive and see what Yudo is going to do while they are comboing off. We are at 25, which is not incredibly low. We could still get hit with a big Mind Warp at the end of this turn or something, but we do have a Shelter from the Storm that we can use to block. Hot on their Heels blocks for 3. If I can block with Shelter from the Storm from Arsenal, then I Arsenal Demonstrate Devotion, and maybe that's better. Here I do want to block with Hot on their Heels if I can. There is an advantage to keeping Hot on their Heels and Demonstrate Devotion if I block with both of my shelters, which is that I can Arsenal I can attack for 3 and then Arsenal Demonstrate Devotion because I still want to be threatening damage. Yudo is at a pretty healthy 9. I would like to put them lower, but we're sort of just struggling to use this hand now. And if Cindra's plan, if her best value for a turn is block with 4 cards, something terrible has happened. That's just awful. So we draw into a brand with Cinderclaw, which is really tragic because I would like to arsenal it, and I don't have a way to get this shelter out of my arsenal now. We're still going to just attack for 3. We don't want to take the intellect penalty, but now you are starting to see how awkward this is, and we would have taken more damage on that combo turn, and the Mind Warp might have put us into a weird spot where we turn 4 cards into 3 cards, and maybe the hand doesn't function as well. But at least then we're probably threatening a Mask of Momentum trigger, and now we have just given complete control of this game to our opponent. All because we don't have a dagger, and on one card, we can't get the daggers back. So we are just now, we've given up control of this game. Here's another hand that is kind of sort of functional, but without a fealty, we don't have any way to use the Ignite. So kind of the best thing we can do with the Ignite here is play it, then pitch a card to Cindra, whose effect would only cost 1 because we have a Draconic Link on the chain, and Cindra's effect is discounted by the Ignite. At that point, we pitch a card, activate Cindra, get our daggers, flick knives, use our last stand counter to make a resource, and then attack with Art of Dragonfire. So we're pushing a 3-card 8, which is not terrible, but at least we got our daggers back. We got a Gone in a Flash coming in for 4 with Go Again. There are a few ways that we can navigate this. One being that we just block with Art of Dragonfire, take 1 point of damage. The other being that we play Shelter from the Storm. I don't want to play Shelter because I don't want to fully block out my opponent's Gone in a Flash with Go Again. And the reason for that is if Yudo has Channel Lightning Valley and we take damage from Gone in a Flash, we make Yudo choose. Do you play Channel Lightning Valley and draw a card? Sorry, do you play Channel Lightning Valley before damage and draw a card? Or do you play it after damage and pick up your Gone in a Flash? If we block Gone in a Flash for 4 with Shelter, then Yudo doesn't have to choose. Yudo gets both options. Return the Gone in a Flash to hand and keep alive Channel Lightning Valley. So I hate that I blocked with Shelter here. I think that is a huge mistake. We don't get punished for it, but it's still wrong. We should have blocked with Art of Dragonfire, take 1 point of damage, and not get massively blown out by Channel Lightning Valley. Yudo's going to play Etching, is going to get back a Sigil and then play it out, taking an Intellect penalty. Our best line here, I think, is... this is fine. We play Ravenous Rabble, play Ignite, buy back our daggers. Now we are in a weird spot because the Calming Breeze is going to prevent us from gaining a resource with our dagger. I still think, and this is where things get difficult, because if Yudo takes this damage, they go down to 7. Our Ignite ability doesn't affect either of our Art of Dragonfires because they are not Draconic, but we can just play one and pitch the other one in order to threaten a Mask of Momentum trigger. Now, because they are not Draconic, Ignite's ability hasn't happened yet, so if we play Art of Dragonfire, pitch Art of Dragonfire, and we hit, and then we draw a card and we can pitch that to Cindra, I think this is the better play. I think with us at 10 and Yudo having 4 cards, we do want to get something from them. Technically 5 cards because the Sigil of Brilliance is going to draw another card. So I think this line is correct. It is just also unfortunate. We draw a card. Yudo goes down to 3. The Rising Resentment is a weird one because if we arsenal it, it is just a starter. It takes the place of a dagger if we draw a hand of Lava Vein loyalties. So I think we do just arsenal it. It puts us into a position where this is a weird hand. If we don't have a starter, if we end up losing this Rising Resentment for whatever reason, then our hand becomes unplayable again. But weird call. I think it was correct not to pitch to the Cindra ability there and to keep an arsenal, but this is a weird spot for us to be in. So we are being able to play defensive, prevent the Channel Lightning Valley draw. Yudo has the ability to bounce it. We can block this with Mask of Momentum. I don't believe that I know what is in Yudo's hand. I know that there's a Channel Lightning Valley. I don't think I know what the other card is. So blocking with the momentum here just to make sure that we don't get blown out by like Volzar something is probably good. Maybe we were supposed to block with another card there. Maybe we do block with Mask of Momentum and Lava Burst, just with the expectation that our turn is going to be Rising Resentment, Hot on their heels, Blaze Headlong, buy back both of our daggers. I'm not 100% on that. Destructive Aethertide is the absolute worst thing that could have happened to us, and this is, again, where we get punished for not having our daggers, because now our hand doesn't function anymore. So the Aethertide was just terrible, and that's where, okay, well, in hindsight, if we had pitched that Rising Resentment, it would have been much better, because then we get to send a 3-card 8, which is still not good, but is a lot better than a 3-card 4. I do want to pitch both of these cards to Cindra to buy back my daggers, and I actually want to do it in reaction so that I can flick one and put Yudo down to 1, and just say, if you don't kill me this turn, then you're probably dead. But considering that we are at 2, and Acilio is a hero capable of dealing arcane damage, then we very likely are just dead either way. And yeah, we've got an Etchings coming in, so really, really poorly played game, honestly. I just got caught up in this momentum on turn 3 of like, it's time to go, we need to deal damage, we need to do something, and then immediately got punished for it. And you could see over consecutive turns how not having at least one dagger just put us so far behind. If we had kept a dagger, I think we easily win that game, because we are dealing at least twice as much damage with every turn cycle than we did. And Acilio just can't keep up with that if he isn't putting together some massive damage combo, which without Greaves, he kind of just can't do. So I hope you enjoyed this game. I hope anyone who watched Yudo's game enjoyed seeing the other side of it, but as potential aspiring Cindra players, that is the direct result of losing both of your daggers for no benefit, is you just draw so many more brick hands. We had several hands that are great if we have a dagger and completely unplayable if we don't. So, good lesson for me too. Keeping the daggers, not getting ahead of ourselves on momentum in the game, not momentum the equipment. Also just that little lesson about Art of Dragonfire. Like, card sucks if you don't have a fealty. Sorry, Art of Dragon Blood card sucks if you don't have a fealty or a brand. We don't need more finishers in Cindra. We do need extenders like Loving Loyalty on turn 1. So go watch Yudo's game, their perspective on this game if you haven't yet. Otherwise, subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Keep up to date on any new Daily FaB gameplay video. I will be back next week with more Cindra. After that, I'll probably be moving on to a hero like FaB. Just taking lessons from Yuki's Cindra list, incorporating them into my own, but if I'm being honest with you, I don't particularly like playing Cindra compared to a hero like Aurora, so we will be moving on to other heroes, giving you more of that variety you crave. Until the next time I see you on Daily FaB Gameplay, take care.